All right, welcome back, everyone. We are here today with another expert guest to help you learn how to make money as a woman, whether that's in your career, your financial goals, your business, whatever that is. And today we're talking all about branding and what that means for your business and just how important it is to overall making money and having a successful business. So I'm really, really excited to be here with Veronica. She is our go-to expert, is going to teach us more than I know about branding. So I'm going to hand the reins over to her and let her take it away and present to us today. Welcome, Veronica.
Hi, thank you for the invite. Let me just share my screen and we can start. Okay, so we're going to talk about brand archetypes focus for online business owners. A bit about me. I'm Verónica Silva. I am a designer and educator. Right now I am based in Lisbon, Portugal, originally from Mexico. And my goal is to teach online business owners how to apply design principles, everything I learned in school, but in an easy and fun way. So first of all, what is a brand archetype? Well, they are timeless characters. They show up throughout history. Again and again, we have seen them in art, in popular culture, movies, comics, everywhere. And they stand for basic human motivations and emotions. That way we can relate to them, or, if we don't like somebody, we know we don't like it, but at least we have an emotion. We like to have these archetypes because our brains like to categorize everything, to put everything into boxes. So when you can say like, oh, this person or this brand is, has these characteristics and I can give it a name, and we can recognize the patterns, then we pay attention instead of just having like a brand that is confusing, or, you don't really know exactly what it is, then your brain doesn't pay much attention. It is also very useful in branding because people trust people. We don't trust brand names. We don't trust just products or corporations. We trust more the person who is behind the business. Now, here are the brand archetypes. They are 12. Obviously, I didn't come up with this. It was somebody else. And they are divided into 4 groups. The one who leave a legacy, pursue connection, provide structure, and explore spirituality. You can take a screenshot, or, if you Google them, you can also find them. And each of them relate to a keyword or a value or something like that. So you can get an idea of more or less what is this. Now let me explain to you each of them. So let's start with the outlaw. This is somebody who rebels against what is established. The aim is to disrupt or to change things. The brand should be edgy and provocative. And brands like these are, for example, Harley Davidson and MTV before all the reality TV. I mean, when they started, they were, the outlaw. Then we have the magician. It's all about transformation, making the dreams come true. And some brands are, for example, Disney. This is pretty obvious. You arrive to Disney or Disneyland and, magic happens. And also Coca-Cola. If you think, for example, about their commercials in Christmas, it's this magical world where everything is possible. Now, before I continue, this is about your brand, not about your customer. So your customer shouldn't be making magic. You are the one who makes magic and makes your customer believe that everything is possible. Then we have the hero, somebody brave, determined, motivated to overcome challenges, and the idea is to inspire others and, change the world for a better. Some examples are Nike and FedEx. FedEx, they supposedly can deliver anywhere in the world, right? So they become the hero. Then, for example, the lover is somebody passionate, emotional. It's all about beauty, intimacy, and about connections between people. This archetype is most useful in brands like perfumes or anything related to beauty. I wouldn't use this, for example, if I was, I don't know, a lawyer. unless you have a very specific case, like you want to attract specific type of people, I wouldn't use that for something serious like that. Then we have the jester. It's somebody playful, and it's about jokes and joy, and everybody is laughing. And some examples are Geico, and this is a really good example because the jester is not just about brands that are supposed to be funny or about fun stuff, like, I don't know, comedians or something like that. You can be an accountant, for example, but then your communication, your message can be fun. And that will make you stand out from your competition because everybody else is like more serious. But if you take this with a little bit of joy and laugh, then you can stand out. Then we have the everyman. This is, is supposed to be relatable to everybody, to the person next door. And the brands that usually do these are brands that have like low prices, like IKEA or Target. If I was a small business owner, I wouldn't do this because it is really hard to give a message or sell a product to everybody. You should focus more on, specific target audience. Then we have the caregiver. It's all about nurturing, protection. You want to help others or, take care of their needs. Most NGOs are part of this. Or, for example, Tom's, the shoe brand. Whenever you buy a pair of shoes, they give one to somebody who needs it. So, it's all about helping others. Then we have the ruler. This is about being organized, being in control, confident, the leaders. This is a very masculine archetype, but that doesn't mean it has to be only for masculine audiences. A good example is a Rolex. If you arrive to a place and you see the person with a Rolex, is most likely the boss. Then the creator, this is all about creativity, imagination, innovation. So anybody who has a brand that in the creative industry, this is a good archetype. But also, you can, and I'm going to talk about this later, but you can combine archetypes. So for example, if you're in I don't know, let's say a lawyer, you can also be creative. You can be the lawyer who has a suit with a different color. And then you start attracting different kinds of audiences. A good example is Lego or Pixar. Then we have the innocent. It's just about optimistic, pure. It's in their eyes, the world is a happy place and everything is simple. And they value safety and goodness. Some brands are, for example, Dove. I don't know if you remember the commercials, even though they are like very inspiring, everything is like super soft and, the world is a nice place. And then we have the sage, which is all about knowledge, wisdom, and seeking the truth. And they want to understand the world through learning. Every brand that has to do with education fits in here, like, for example, the BBC or Google. So if you, for example, have online courses or something like that, this is a good archetype because the way you create a brand for yourself is like letting everybody know that you can give knowledge. Then the explorer, it's all about freedom and adventure, and they're always seeking new experiences and independence. The idea is to discover and explore, and then you try. The idea is that your audience feels inspired to explore. This doesn't have to mean only, in nature or outdoors. This can be like explore, I don't know, spirituality or something like that. Some good brands, examples are Patagonia and Jeep. So, in other words, imagine your brand is a person. That person has values, they have a personality, they have dreams, and they will be best friends with your audience. As I mentioned before, these archetypes or these profiles are not to give to your audience, is to give to your brand, and then that brand will be the best friend of your audience. So think about who your audience feels more connected to. And okay, this is all the theory, all the archetypes, but now how do we apply these to your brand? The first step is to choose. You need to choose only one or two. If you choose more than that, it will start becoming confusing. So I would recommend one or two. And you have a huge advantage because you can choose this archetype based on your own personality. So for example, if you like to make a lot of jokes, the jester would be very easy for you. Or the opposite, if you're a serious person, I wouldn't recommend you choosing the jester because then it would be weird and it's not natural for you to come with all these fun ideas, right? And you don't have to agree with anybody else. Like for example, in a big corporation, there's a table with people that have to decide what is the brand. The brand is basically you choose it yourself. So you have a huge advantage compared to other businesses. So how do you choose it? Think about your values. So from all the archetypes that I show you, which values connect with your own values? Think about the mission or vision from your business, and again, your own personality. And think about the emotional promise that your brand has. So are you here to help others? Are you here to inspire others? Are you here to make people joyful? What is it that you are promising? And then you need to choose an archetype or the two archetypes that feel more natural, the most natural to you. And now just a quick note. This is just a guidance. It's not a box. Like this is just for you. That for you is easier to build your brand and to stay within your brand. But this is not to limit yourself. Like if you choose an archetype that doesn't make jokes, for example, it's okay if you make a joke from time to time. It's not like very strict rules. Now, for example, I'm not a copywriter. So for me, it's hard sometimes, especially now with AI. So when you choose your archetype, it is very easy to then determine your tone and your message. Everything that you write, whether in social media, use newsletter, everything should be aligned with your archetype. So, check your messages, check how you speak, and see if it matches the archetype that you chose. For example, a caregiver brand would be nurturing, warm, supportive, and it wouldn't use any sarcastic or edgy tones, right? Of course, you can use AI, but I would be careful with that. I would read what AI gives you and give it explicit instructions instead of just asking for any message. Also, you can align the visual identity. You can choose the fonts, the colors, all the images that fit this archetype personality. So for example, a sage would be more like neutral tones, minimal design, and serious fonts. It wouldn't use any like funky, trendy fonts. And you can do this very easy. This is a screenshot I took from Pinterest. So once you choose your archetype, you go to Pinterest and then you write the archetype and write aesthetic, and it gives you a lot of things. And then you can choose your colors and see more or less what you like. And then, I mentioned this before, but the brands that are more complete blend a primary and a secondary archetype. So for example, you can be a ruler, but also be creative, right? And this gives you a more unique identity. Just make sure that everything is consistent and everything is clear. So it's not confusing for your audience, but also for yourself. So I hope this was clear. Annie, let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, this is so fascinating. I think this helps bring to life so many things that I've heard about marketing and branding that I think a lot of people that are listening to this probably haven't heard. Like, there's one thing to have your brand colors and your fonts, and a lot of people start with that. branding in that way, but I think having this archetype is really helpful. One question that I have that I think other women might have, a lot of women create online brands and their brand is I'm a strong, high achieving woman. I help other high achieving women. And that I see that all the time in brand descriptions. What kind of identity do you think that matches up with really well? Because I think sometimes that's the ruler, it's the high achiever, but it's also a softness, it's a little feminine. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it can be a combination. It can either be the ruler or it can be the hero, you know? I'm
Mm,
strong, but I'm helping you be strong. It's not like I'm strong, let me lift you. It's like, let me show you how to be strong. Um,
interesting.
and then it most likely is mixed with another archetype that it could be like the caregiver, like, like this is very related to moms, right? Like there is a typical feminine archetype.
Yeah.
Or it can be creative, like I am the boss, but I wear a pink suit, like it can
Mm,
be mixed like that. Yeah.
I like that. Okay. Another question I had, I think you made a really good point at the end that it's important that this becomes consistent in your copywriting, in your images, in your tone. If you are running your own business or you are working with someone running their own business, how would you tell them to practically keep that in mind? Like, would you have them put a picture of their persona like on their screen in their office or like put it at the top of every time they write something? How do they keep that in mind all the time?
Yeah, well, this depends on the person. There's people who are more visual, like myself. I would make a mood board.
Hmm.
There's people who like to have everything organized, and I would recommend having, for example, a Google Doc with all the, your archetype and then your colors, your fonts, everything. And now for people using AI, the ones that are creating custom GPTs, train your GPT, give it all the information, tell the archetype, and that will make your life way easier. But always
Okay.
always keep handy your fonts, your colors, everything, because it's very easy. And I'm, myself included, you go into Canva and then you see new templates and you're like, ooh, but no.
Yeah. I know, I've been there. It's so easy. So easy to do. Um, Anything else that you think people struggle with when they're trying, like the top things people have a hard time with when they're trying to pick their brand persona?
Um, I think a lot of people try to mix a lot of archetypes. I see this a lot with my students. They tell me, "Oh, but I'm fun, but I also want to be a hero, but I'm also very creative." Just choose the one that you think your audience will relate more with. It also depends
Okay.
on your business, and you can have a conversation with ChatGPT to make this thing more clear. My I guess my advice is don't choose anything that is too far from your personality, because then it will be really hard to keep up with that. It's like acting all the time. And it's not only hard to be consistent with it, have the same type of messaging and images all the time, but it's also tiring, because you're basically faking. So choose something that you feel comfortable with, that feels more
Yeah.
natural to you.
Okay. That's really helpful. And I know you have your email on the screen, violetstudio.net. Is this the
Yeah.
best place for folks to find out more about your work?
Yeah. Right now, I have a course on the side, but soon I'll be launching a membership. So you can join the newsletter. Every week, I share tips for improving your brand. So you can just go to my site and sign up.
Amazing. Well, yeah, the site is on the screen. I hope folks go there, sign up for the newsletter. I'm also going to record it down in the show notes below this video. Please connect with Veronica. Obviously, she just has a wealth of knowledge. Any other parting words you want to share with folks, Veronica?
Just I want to say have fun, because a brand should be fun and you should enjoy branding your business instead of feeling like an ick every time you
Yeah,
try this or something.
I love it. Such good advice. All right. Well, thanks everyone. I will end the recording now. Take care. If you want to look at future events, we're at money-essentials.com. /events. We have tons of experts just like Veronica coming on to talk about different ways you can optimize your business, your career, and your finances. So check it out.